going on, everybody, and welcome to our final series of this 60-day challenge. I'm in the middle. I'm excited to end, this series and get through this series and really help you to understand how to build a life of change. Now we're into the how. But on the flip side, I'm sad to stop doing these and working with you as we have been the last 60 days. So with that in mind, we're hopping into day 51. And we're going again to talk about how do I change? We've talked about who you are. Okay, let's start there. We've talked about who you are as a person. What does that look like? What do you want to change? Are you happy with that? Then we've talked about where are you? Where are you in the different relationships you have? Where are you with your family? Where are you with yourself, more importantly? Where are you with God? Where are you in life? Where are you and what does that look like? We've talked about why we struggle, okay? The different excuses we have, the different reasons that we make up, our time, routine, all of those things. And then we've also talked about, in the previous series, what holds us back, right? Our past, influences, our fear, and hopefully we let all that go, right? We let loose the load and put it all behind us. All these breakthroughs that I've hoped you've been having, okay? I hope throughout the different days and the times in the series that you have seen and had some major breakthroughs about yourself or where you are with some things. We've laid out the building blocks, right? All these breakthroughs have really, hopefully helped you build the blocks you need to change. It should have helped, and hopefully it has, it did for me. It should have helped identify the specific areas, right, that we want to change. We've talked about it, right? Do we need to change our personality a little bit? Do we need to pay attention to who we are instead of just saying this is who I am, accept that? Do we need to change our influences? Do we need to take a look at some folks and say, you're not so good for me right now, or maybe they are a great influence and you need that? It should have helped identify those specific areas we want to change and then revealed areas we didn't think we needed change. For example, maybe some relationships. Maybe you didn't realize that your relationship with your children is strained until you started doing this, and now you're like, man, I really need to start working on that. Or did you finally identify some things you needed to let go? All of that is so important. It's so crucial. So I'm hoping you've had those breakthroughs, you've had those moments, and you're recognizing some things. So we have drawn up the blueprint, right? We have our blueprint. Now it's time to execute the plan. This particular day is called, in the series, is called Find Your Rhythm. So as a musician and singer, there's one vital part of music that without it, nothing else will work. Nothing else goes right, okay? The words mean nothing. The sound is pointless, how great everybody sounds, how, the piano sounds or drum sound or guitar sounds. All of that means nothing if there is not one thing, and that's tempo. That's the beat, that's the rhythm. We can sound the greatest, we can play the greatest, we can actually play at the top of our scale of our abilities, but without that tempo, without that rhythm, it means nothing. To play together well, everyone involved must be in sync. Everybody. Every musician, every singer has to have the right tempo. And this is true about change. All right? It's why we've spent 50 days prepping. You need to know the rhythm of your change, the why of your change. That's why we've spent more time talking about all this other stuff before we got to how do I change. You have to know the why. You've got to have that rhythm. The why sets the rhythm for how. So for instance, if one of the areas that you identified in series 3 is that you need to work on the relationships with your children, but then instead you're focusing on your relationship with your friends, that sets off the tempo. That sets off the rhythm. You're not in sync with the change you need in your life. You need to know and plan out your tempo to change. You need to know and plan things out. 50 plus days of doing that has led us to the how. So when we talked about maybe who you are, okay, maybe you said you needed to work on, I'm just using the consistent things all the time because they're mostly about me. If you're saying that you need to also work on your delivery or your affect with folks, okay, but then you're not, when you're talking about who you are and you're focusing more on your time management, that's out of sync. If you made and recognized the fact that I need to work on this, but then you're focusing your energy and efforts on something else, it's why you're not able to have consistent change. You're not able to maintain that consistent change because you're out of sync. That is what this intro for this day is about. It's telling you and letting you know you need to find your rhythm. Understand all of the work you have done thus far has led to now how you're going to implement that and change. We're going to talk about, again, time management and how I have done it that has totally changed my life. We're going to talk about routines. We're going to talk about your bounce back. All right, suppose you fall off the wagon a little bit. What does your bounce back look like? All of those things we're going to go over, and I'm going to show you how all of the things you've gone through in this 60-day challenge, all of the notes you've taken, all of the documentation I've given you to fill out and work on, that's building to this series in which we are going to plan that out. We're going to focus on the areas that you need focus on. Not the areas you think you do, but the areas that you've identified through all of this. That's what we're going to look at. Okay, I hope you guys are ready. Get your notes together because tomorrow we're gonna set the rhythm. I love you guys. See ya tomorrow. So catch me if I fall.